Often, these macromolecules are a bit hard to conceptualize. So let's talk about food. What kinds of foods do you think of when I say carbohydrates or carbs? Maybe you're thinking about bread or grains like rice. Starches are also carbs like potatoes. Bagels, cereal, sweeteners like sugar and honey. Fruits and vegetables are also made up of carbohydrates. These are natural sugars and cellulose that form the fiber we need in our diets. Monosaccharides are the monomers of carbohydrates. Mono means one, and saccharide means sugar. So this word just means one sugar. Glucose is the most common monosaccharide in your body. It has the chemical formula C6H12O6. You need to know this formula of glucose for this class. Fructose is another monosaccharide that also has the same formula. But fructose has a different structure. The carbonyl group, the C double bonded to the O, is in a different location. This makes these molecules isomers. In liquid solutions of water, these small 6-carbon compounds form into rings. Each ring is a monomer, and the large sugars in your body are made up of these carbon rings stuck together. Monosaccharides are the main source of fuel for your body. You use the energy in glucose to make ATP, the energy molecule for our cells. Your brain can only use sugar as a source of energy to make ATP. A disaccharide is made up of 2 monosaccharides. The prefix di means 2, so this word means 2 sugars. When a glucose binds to another glucose, they make a disaccharide called maltose. This process is an example of a dehydration synthesis reaction. The most common disaccharide is sucrose. This is table sugar that we add to many foods and drinks. Polysaccharides are made up of hundreds of thousands of monosaccharides. In nature, these can be hundreds to thousands of monosaccharides long. We use polysaccharides either for energy storage or for structural support. Plants have 2 forms of polysaccharides, starch and cellulose. Starch is what makes up the starchy root vegetables like potatoes. These are easy for us to digest and usually very yummy. Cellulose is used in support of plants. It is a structural carbohydrate. It makes up the leaves of leafy green vegetables as well as green stems. These are hard for us to digest, but they are important for our health and digestion to function properly. We typically call this dietary fiber. Animals store carbohydrates in long chains of glucose called glycogen. We mainly store this in our muscles and liver. So anytime you eat animal meat, you are also eating glycogen. Animals use a polysaccharide called chitin for structural support. This can be seen, for example, in the exoskeleton of arthropods like this beetle. Insects use the sugar to build up the structure that helps them move and protects them. Sugar tends to get a bad rap. A lot of things we hear about nutritional science focus on these aspects of specific macromolecules. Sugar is always cast as bad. Americans eat on average about 22 teaspoons of sugar a day, compared to the recommended 6 by the FDA. The World Health Organization actually recommends less. The high sugar consumption of Americans gets linked to obesity, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses such as heart disease. Usually the sugar we're talking about is this highly processed and combined with other things like fats, like you can see on the bottom right. Not every sugar is bad. Natural sugar is found in fruits and vegetables. These natural sugars also come with a lot of fiber. Fiber helps to support health. Instead of focusing on cutting out all carbohydrates and sugars, because thinking sugar is only bad, think about the kinds of sugars that exist. When man was a hunter-gatherer, they ate sugar in the form of fruits and vegetables for thousands of years without any issues of obesity. It wasn't until after World War II, when we started packaging foods for troops, and then for the general public, that obesity became an epidemic. Now, most Americans eat more of the highly processed sugars on the right and much less of the natural sugars on the left.